Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Simply Logical podcast.
Hello, everyone.
Was that the right line? I think I messed that up.
Did you?
I don't know. What are we doing today, Christine?
We're looking at assholes because
that's not appropriate.
It's been a while.
We're looking at Reddit posts. It's been a while since we did an "Am I the Asshole" episode.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, should we want to just get into it?
Yeah. I hope everyone's having a great week. We're back with some fire ones.
All right, Christine, right into it. Am I the asshole for making a joke on my coworker about his bathroom hours?
Please explain.
Bathroom hours. That'd be a good album title.
Bathroom hours.
Bathroom hours.
What does that mean? Like office hours, but bathroom.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
I'm a 23-year-old guy. I work with a 26-year-old guy. We've been working together for a year now. In my workplace, it's allowed to have as many cigarette breaks or toilet breaks as you need/want. There is no day he makes fun of my 5 to 10 minute breaks every other hour for a quick cigarette. There's no day he doesn't make fun of my 5 to 10 minute breaks every other hour for a quick cigarette. One day he started measuring the time and started complaining I take way too many breaks. That day I started the same with his bathroom hours and thought nothing about it. I was like, wow, only 17 minutes. Must be your personal best.
Got him.
The profanities that came out of his mouth were not expected, neither from me or the other workers surrounding us. Things like, how dare you compare your cigarettes to my toilet breaks? Going to the toilet is far more of an essential thing than you, stupid, yada, yada, yada. I wasn't even listening anymore, so furious was I.
What? What is this, change of writing style?
I feel like I'm reading a poem. I did try to calm him down, but I was talking to a brick wall. I did what everyone else with a healthy mind would do and left the building. 10 minutes later, I got a call from our boss trying to understand this mess and that I should at least come back and finish the job I was working on. Yada, yada, yada. Am I the asshole for making a joke about a coworker's bathroom hours?
Everyone is stupid.
In most scenarios, if you're recording how long your coworkers are in the bathroom, pretty crazy thing to do.
Yeah. Honestly, it's all immature. This sounds like something that young people would do, whether because they think it's funny.
Hey, that's not nice to young people.
I didn't mean it that way.
I was a young person once. I wasn't measuring how long people were in the bathroom.
I know. I didn't mean that specifically, but we can all agree
I'm just kidding around.
I don't know. I'm thinking I'm going to offend all young people.
You are way too worried about worrying about offending people.
Well, stop trolling me with now I have to second guess myself. Fuck Ben. Okay. It sounds more typical of maybe a younger crowd who thinks it's funny. In my mind, I'm just picturing teenage boys thinking it's funny to talk about how long their friend took a shit for or something. They think that that's humorous.
Okay, but in that context, it's funny.
Well, they think it's funny, but maybe it actually isn't to their friend. And that kind of miscommunication happens a lot.
But young men bond by bullying each other.
Yeah, which is immature, is my point.
Toxic. I would say toxic.
Yeah, sure. So that's what this sounds like, even though they're 23 and 26, but they could still be immature.
Yeah. You know what? It used to bother me when people who smoked just got way more breaks than other people.
I remember that time, yeah. We're old enough to remember when a bunch of people would take smoke breaks from work.
I guess is the
interesting.
The number of people who smoke in general, I guess, is decreasing.
Way down, yeah.
I guess this is less and less of a thing people observe. But yeah, I can think of one person who I just felt like was always just leaving. And it's like, hey, I would love to get up every hour and just go for a stroll outside for 5 to 10 minutes. That sounds great. But it's weird that it was sort of socially acceptable just to the people we accept as sort of they're drug addicts, essentially. People who need to take smoke breaks multiple times a day are drug addicts.
I remember feeling the same way. This is probably 10 to 15 years ago when I'd started working on my first professional-ish position.
Yeah.
And I remembered like every 40 fucking minutes, there'd be a group of 2 or 3 people who would get up and it's time for a smoke break. And you would know because they'd come back like reeking like cigarettes, which became an issue and later became something that departments would start implementing. Like you can't have all your clothes smelling like smoke because it causes other people to, you know, be sensitive to it and whatever. But this was before that era is what I'm saying. So it was bothering me for that reason. I never said anything because I was like new. No, I was like a new student. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking say anything. These are my superiors who are all going out on smoke breaks, smelling and it's making me nauseous. But that's just me as someone who wasn't a smoker. But I also remember being like, they are gone like 30% of the day. Like 30% of their 7.5 hours, they are outside smoking. It's not the same thing as someone who's like, shit, I was late. I'm going to go grab a coffee during my work hours, or I'm going to take a little bit of extended lunch. And yeah, it became like no one really said anything to these people because no one wanted to be rude about their habit, about how they maybe physiologically had that need. And it's not your job as someone who's just a coworker to like start commenting on their health decisions. Whereas if it was someone who was just going out and like, I just want to go outside and talk to my friends outside every 40 minutes, you would get in trouble for that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like, for me, it's like, is it actually like harming me or affecting me that someone else is doing something? Arguably, it is if I feel like people are being held to a different standard in a workplace and someone like isn't working as much as I am, but I could see that being a problem. And like the smelling of smoke thing is. But in this scenario, like if these are 2 people who just work independently and they're getting their work done, like it is weird that there's even this conflict over how much time you spend on a toilet versus how much time I spend.
But he was reacting to the first coworker who was commenting about a cigarette break. So he just found the next thing he could react to the other person. So like he was just trying to do like, how can I get you back? 17
minutes is a pretty long time.
Maybe he was on
Twitter. Playing Candy Crush.
Okay. Or X. He was on X.
I don't know what that is. Is that porn or something?
xxx.com.
All right, next post. Am I an asshole for not giving my girlfriend my dinner after I had already bought her own dinner?
What?
So my girlfriend is 25. I'm 29. We live in New York City. And there's a popular app where you buy leftover restaurant food. Restaurants advertise surprise bags at a reduced price in order to reduce food waste. That's a cool idea. The customer doesn't know what they're getting until they pick up the food, but the cost is at least 3 times lower than the normal menu price. I ordered a surprise bag from a barbecue place that I was picking up on the way home yesterday. I texted my girlfriend asking if she wanted one, and she said no. She wasn't in the mood for barbecue, but there was an Indian restaurant right next door, and she also had surprise bags available on the app, so she ordered one of them. The barbecue was $12. Indian food was $10. When I got home, I unpacked the meals to see what I got, and I was psyched about my bag. I only paid $12, but the value was probably like $36. This was a hit. My girlfriend, however, was less lucky. Her surprise bag only had 6 different types of soup, half of them being variations on cauliflower soup.
Good soup.
That sounds like another good like album name. Variations on cauliflower soup.
Okay, where is your head today?
Okay, she was disappointed to say the least. She asked if we could share my barbecue, and I said no. I'm hungry.
Uh-oh.
I offered to buy you something, and you said no, so I'm going to devour it. That's what you said to your girl. No, I'm going to devour it.
No, I'm hungry, bitch. This is my food. This is my barbecue.
Sounds immature. She got mad and called me the asshole. I told her if she didn't want soup, she should have ordered something specifically instead of using the app. I told her just to order something off a food delivery app. She said she didn't want to spend the money. Another bit of context is I make a lot more money than her. I tell her that if she doesn't want to pay for delivery, I'll walk to the bodega on our street and can buy her something there. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, she thinks I'm the asshole, but in my defense, I offered to buy her barbecue to begin with, which she declined, and I offered to pick up her own food and grab it for her, and yeah, am I the asshole?
So he got a retail value of $36 worth of barbecue and couldn't share any of it because he was that hungry.
It sounds like he got a lot of barbecue.
Sounds like he got like a shitload of food.
This might be a good example where like the purely rational philosophical take is, of course you don't have to share your barbecue with anybody else.
Yeah.
But in a more pragmatic, the world we live
In
in,
a social society.
in our society, and you living with someone you presumably love and want to make sure they're not hungry
Maybe you would want
or
to
upset
share.
about cauliflowers. Yeah, maybe you just share a little bit of your ample barbecue platter
I think
before you devour the rest of it.
if this was like you and your coworker, maybe you'd react a little bit differently because like you don't really have that type of relationship, and like you went out and independently bought this from somewhere and they bought that from, and then like neither of you is gonna expect something from the other.
Yeah, you
Even
eat
if
it.
someone
You
lucked
eat it
out.
when they're in the bathroom for 17 minutes. In that case,
And then sure.
but here, of course, yeah, it matters how much. I mean, if a stranger on the street came up to me and said, "I didn't like my lunch. Can I have some of yours?" I'm probably saying no.
Yeah, and that's because you don't have a relationship or feel like you
Yeah.
should owe that person.
So we're
anything.
someone on the spectrum between stranger on the street and presumably your girlfriend is pretty high on that other end of the spectrum of you wanting to.
But do you need the entire meal of barbecue? Like that's also what I don't understand. Is he just doing this to make a point? Which I find very annoying. If his point is like, well, I told you so, and you took your chances and you lost, and it's like you don't actually need all of that food. You're being a dick.
There are times to teach people life lessons.
This is not one
I
of
don't
them.
think this is
This
one
is
of those
a bad. Yeah, find another.
The idea of the app is interesting though, because it does sort of bake in you kind of know you're signing up for, not necessarily being happy.
It's a mystery box
with what you
of
get.
food.
It is the mystery.
It's literally a mystery box.
I don't think I would trust a service like this. Is that elitist
Why?
of me?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause
I mean, okay, there's a ton of food waste, and especially maybe in New York, it sounds like a really good idea. But yeah, I have no idea what is the definition of this food waste. Is it like leftovers someone else left on a plate? Because then I feel like some
Yeah.
people would reasonably ask questions and be a little uncomfortable with that. But if it's not, and if it's just like the restaurant made too much for the one batch that was ordered, but it's otherwise like clean and fine and hasn't been touched by another customer, then that's different.
I suppose it depends on the restaurant, but like my head immediately goes to like, okay, this other restaurant just had a bunch of soup they're going to throw away, so let's give
Yeah.
it to people. I don't know if I love the idea in my head of knowing like, oh, this was a bunch of food that was about to go in the garbage, but like they're like, oh, it hasn't expired yet. Let's just
Why?
try to make some money.
It's
off
just
of it.
they didn't sell it, but they would have sold it if there was
Maybe
a
there's
customer.
a reason they didn't sell it. Maybe
Well,
it's
they
like
just made too
Maybe
much.
it's on the verge of expiring.
expiry.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, but that's making a lot of assumptions, and maybe
You know,
there's
we go through life making
Okay,
assumptions.
Jesus Christ, I don't.
And I go through life ordering food I want to eat and not mystery boxes of food. You're a pickier eater than me.
Yeah,
There's no
I
way
don't
you're
think
doing
I would
this.
benefit from this service personally because I would get something that I don't like, and then I'd be mad.
Can I tell you something?
What?
I'd be pretty happy with cauliflower soup. I'm not mad at cauliflower
I like
soup.
cauliflower soup.
I don't know if that's a meal, but that's also because I just don't think soup is ever a meal.
I like fried cauliflower or like pretending cauliflower is the burger or something. It's pretty good. Like when
Pretending
you go to
cauliflower
when you go
is the burger.
to vegan restaurants and there's like a cauliflower burger or a dish and it's like a meaty-ish thing, but it's cauliflower, and they just do a bunch of shit to it to make it like heartier. It's pretty good.
I've seen they turn the cauliflower into like their version of chicken wings.
Oh yes, yeah, we've
Yeah.
had that too.
Yeah, that I get. The burger thing, if you put a piece of cauliflower in between a bun, that's not a burger.
Well, I didn't say it was a burger, but I'm just pretending. Whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Next one.
Next one. Am I an asshole for not forcing my son to rename his hamster?
Aw.
To start this off, my son is 11 and has been begging for a family pet for a while. I finally gave in when I felt like we were ready to take one on, and when I felt like he was ready for the responsibility that comes with a pet. I expected he would want a dog or cat, but he really wanted a hamster.
That's good for you, parent.
So we spent a little over a week prepping, helping him study hamster care, and dedicated a sizable spot in our living room for necessities and a home. We finally get around to picking one out at the pet shop, and he was set on the name Sonic.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Wait, the hamster.
Sonic
That's
the
not
hamster.
a hamster.
But the lady at the cash ringing us up mentioned that the one he picked out was a girl, and that she could get him a boy if he wanted. He just lit up and said, "That's Amy." So we took Amy home. You can call a lady hamster Sonic. What is this?
Sure.
What is this super gendered
I don't know.
You
He's
think
11.
the hamster's gonna care?
Maybe he saw the name tag of the lady at the cashier, and her name was Amy. So
You think she wants
That's
to be-
Amy.
You think she would like that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna name your hamster after me.
Sure.
My sister-in-law found out she was pregnant.
Okay.
Another top around that time, and last month they found out they were having a girl. Basically, what happened was they were picking out names, and one of the names they narrowed it down to had Amy as the middle name.
Uh-oh.
I made a joke, something like, "Hey, we already have an Amy at our house," trying to be funny, but sister-in-law didn't think it was very funny. I didn't think much about it at the time, but a couple of days ago, she asked to come by to talk. She started off by saying the joke I made was in bad taste. I apologized for it, and then she suggested I change the name. I told her I didn't think that would go over well with my son, and then she outright demanded it be changed, whether he likes it or not, because she wasn't going to have a child share the name with a hamster. I agreed to talk it over with my son to see what he thought, and of course he didn't want to change the name. He even thought it was cool that his cousin would share a name with his hamster. I tried convincing him to rename her Sonic, or another Sonic character, but he didn't want that. I explained how sister-in-law feels about this, and he felt hurt because he thought he upset sister-in-law, but he really didn't want to change the name and didn't understand why they couldn't just share it. I told sister-in-law my son was set on Amy, and she blew up. I'll admit I got a bit defensive and reacted poorly, but I essentially told her it wasn't a huge deal. It's not like anyone was going to make a connection. And by the time her child is old enough to know her name, Amy the hamster likely won't be around. She claimed it was embarrassing because she would always know the connection in her mind, to which I simply told her if it wasn't such a strong reminder of a hamster, then maybe it wasn't a name she should use for her daughter. My brothers told me that I'm being selfish for not forcing my son to pick another name. Sister-in-law obviously thinks I'm the asshole, and my mom has said the whole thing is childish. Sounds pretty childish.
Okay, I thought this was gonna go another direction, so I reserved comment.
It didn't. What did you think about what actually happened?
So what actually happened was nothing. Nothing happened at
Nothing
all.
happened.
The child
No one should
named
be
a
upset.
fucking hamster Amy. And somewhere in here they said that the hamster wasn't going to be around for long. Like, that's true. Don't hamsters like last for like 2 to 3 years?
I don't think hamsters live all that long.
Yeah. So
Also,
this
here's
was
a
pretty
compromise.
stupid.
Amy, the hamster Amy, they should call her Amy the hamster and call the human child
Amy
the baby. So no one is getting confused about anything.
Amy the baby. Amy the hammy.
Also,
cute.
we're talking middle name. They said Amy was being considered for a
Shit,
middle
you're right. They're not
name.
even going to call the baby Amy.
No one even knows.
You know what you
your
should
middle
do? You
name
should
is.
call the baby Sonic.
Steal the other.
Be like, I took your name. You can have mine. It's a trade.
In an alternate reality where we had a baby, a human child, and could name it, I would love to give it some middle name like Sonic the Hedgehog or something.
Why? Just so you could laugh. Because it's funny.
Yeah. It would be good for them too.
Sure, it
We wouldn't have to tell anybody.
Yeah,
it would be
sure,
our,
it
it
would
will be
be good
our
for them.
our little secret.
We don't have to tell them what their middle name is?
No, they don't have to tell anyone else.
Yeah,
So
they
it
do.
would only be
It's like
between
on their license
it would be
and
between
shit.
us, the child, and the government. But how fun would that be? You're at a party, you go, and that's a great way. That's an icebreaker. Hey, do you know my middle name is Sonic the Hedgehog?
Sure, Ben.
Who wouldn't want?
Okay.
Who wouldn't want that?
Because you just think your parents are immature, I guess. You're like, what?
Would you rather be named a different video game character?
Does it have to be a video game? I don't know what I'd rather be named.
If you could rename
If you could rename yourself, what
if you
would
could rename yourself.
Yeah. Do you like the name Ben?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay.
What about you?
Christine with no H. It's confusing to a lot of people, but I've owned it.
You've
I think
definitely
it's like
owned
part
it.
of my personality.
You kind of rub it in people's faces
You with
a little
no
bit.
H.
Yeah.
I mean, it just became a meme.
If you could pick any name for yourself, would you pick a different name?
No, I don't think so. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm happy with it. I'd probably pick a different middle name though.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Because my dad was immature when he picked my middle name.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Christine's dad named Christine after his favorite video game character, Tomb Raider.
What?
So Christine, your name's Christine Lara Croft Rodenberg.
That's not true. But like, that was one of his favorite games. Though. We used to play it after school. I played with
You'd
him.
watch him play Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I'd probably change my middle name. Actually, no, because it's generational. No one. Okay, I was named after Raquel Welch, who was like a '60s sex symbol. But our generation and younger, like, have forgotten that era. You know what I mean? So no one thinks of that when they hear Raquel. But
You don't even hear that
25
name.
years ago, you would have thought of that.
I guess.
I
can't think
so.
of
It was
another
more
Raquel.
prominent back then. But like now, no one really thinks that when they hear my middle name. They're just like, okay, whatever.
Kind of unique. It's nice to have like an
Raquel?
old-timey name.
Is that an old timey name?
Raquel? I think so.
Yeah, you don't hear it that
Yeah.
often.
It's like Bartholomew or something.
What? Okay.
That's my middle name, Bartholomew.
Right.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for checking my husband's dash cam footage on his car without his consent?
What was he doing?
I'm 34-year-old woman. I live with my husband who's 37. We have a daughter who's 7. My daughter and I recently went on a short trip out of state while my husband stayed, as he had work and was supposed to look after our dog. On the last day of our trip, we got a call from my husband, who was acting distraught, and said that our dog Ellie had run away and that he could not find her. He claimed that she just bolted away from him in the park into some bushes and he could not find her. Our dog is quite small, a mini poodle mix, and almost 13 years old. She's still active, but it is really unlike her to run away from us, and I was suspicious, but chose to believe my husband. And my daughter and I were in grief, but did not want to blame him. When we came home, he seemed surprisingly okay, unlike us. Ever since the pandemic, my husband started working from home, and he has always been annoyed at how much attention we give Ellie, and hated how Ellie begged to sit on our laps while he worked. And his lap while he worked. A few days later, we got a call from an animal rescue in a neighboring state, quite far from us, that she had been found. I picked up the phone, and it was on our landline, which we almost never use these days, but was the contact on the microchip. I told my husband, and he just said, "That's great, I'm so happy." But it felt kind of blunt and insincere. I said it's strange that she got so far, and he responded that someone must have stolen her and then abandoned her. This made little sense to me as to why that would happen. When he was out drinking with his buddy, I copied the videos from his dash cam for the days that I was away and saw that he had taken Ellie far out of state, dropped her in front of his car, thrown a frisbee into a field, yelled fetch, and then drove off without her. I was livid and confronted him, and he just stupidly muttered how he dropped her there so she could find a farm and have a better life. And then the next day got really angry at me for viewing his dash cam and called me and my daughter assholes.
Oh my God.
Am I the monster?
Send him to jail.
This is divorce, right?
This is...
There's no way that's ending not
Like-
in leaving the husband.
This has got to be at least some kind of bylaw, if not could qualify for some criminal offense in some states, like animal welfare. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then lying, like, if you're not happy with a pet in your home, you have to talk to the other people in your home and, like, have that conversation.
Also,
That's insane.
It's like the insecurity that, like, the pets, like, this is insane. I just maybe there's not too much to say about
And
this one.
how
other
he
than,
could just lie to his family and daughter.
That's a
his
terrifying
7-year-old daughter.
This is the terrifying thing about being in a relationship in general.
Is
by the
people
way.
can lie to you like this?
Well, you never really know what's going on in someone's head, right? Have you seen Gone Girl? That's the whole point of the movie. It's like,
yeah.
who is this person I love? Maybe there's someone who would abandon your dog and would basically kill your dog. That's crazy.
That's insane. Yeah. I don't know. I'm so mad. Kill him.
Kill him. Death to all of them.
Okay, here's an idea. Okay. Take him on a little road trip. Take him out to the farm. Throw a bottle of beer and say, "Have a great time." And then fucking go back home and
Just
never
peel
see
off.
him again. There you go.
That's fair. Hey, I mean, at least there's a happy ending that someone found the dog
Yeah.
and reconciled.
But, yeah, and like he still lied. And she had to check dash cam footage because she was suspicious. And that, like, puts a pit in my stomach because she used that word earlier, too. That, like, she had a suspicion, but she didn't want to believe he would do anything
And you
malicious.
wouldn't want to believe that about someone.
Oh, my God.
share your
That's
life
so fucking tough, though. Because, like, obviously, they
Also,
have a
the
kid.
audacity to turn it around and be like, "You're the asshole for looking at
my dash cam.
My
Like,
security
please shut the
camera
fuck up.
footage.
Like, you can't use that excuse. Like, this isn't a court and you're saying it's inadmissible. Like, please shut the fuck up, sir.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hope this conversation moved into real questions of trust in the relationship and how someone like could do that to you.
This should have ended the relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I don't know.
With his death.
No, okay. I was joking when I said that too. Don't actually think I wish death upon people.
I'm not joking. Am I the asshole for
Jesus.
begging my girlfriend to uphold a sexist tradition just so she can make a good
Murder!
first
No, I'm
impression?
just kidding.
Kill him!
I'm joking. Let's go.
I have a big family that's incredibly close. We have big family dinners every few months where we all go. We all meet at my great grandfather's estate and eat together.
What does that mean?
Estate, his house. We go to my grandfather's place.
This
and
is
we
our
eat.
estate, Ben.
Yeah.
This is the podcast estate room. Okay.
Typically, how this works is that the women go and cook for the time they're there, and the men
Oh my
don't.
God, I can't. Sorry.
I'm fully aware this is sexist as hell, says OP. That being said, I'm one of the youngest people in the family, and my protests mean literally nothing. Some of the women choose not to cook. However, this is usually met with a level of ostracizing. The women who don't cook are wives and long-term girlfriends, so they kind of already have a good family relationship doctored in.
They're grandfathered in.
When I've seen new partners not cook, it has gone bad. Like they're completely ostracized, not speaking, cattiness, rudeness, etc. This dinner will be in 2 weeks, and my girlfriend was asked if she would attend. Initially, she said yes, which is great. I want for her to meet everyone and for everyone to get used to her being around, but when I explained to her the tradition, she was understandably bothered. I told her that I understood where she was coming from. However, it was best for everyone if she just played along. I told her this isn't a permanent thing and that I'm only asking her to do this so that she can avoid bad treatment from the rest of the family. This is her first impression, and I don't think it's best if we cause waves. She told me that's unacceptable and that if she has to do that, she will not be going. I've tried to find a compromise with her on this, but she won't budge. And she's pissed at me. She told me that if I think it's acceptable to make her do this, I'm just as bad as everyone else. Well, my point is that she needs to make a good first impression. Am I the asshole?
Sir, listen.
Okay.
You think this is about the first impression of your girlfriend towards your family and their impression of her? What about your girlfriend's impression of your family? Because
Yes.
you're putting one desire over the other.
prioritizing one,
If you
yeah.
let your girlfriend, if you instruct your girlfriend, which is what it sounds like you're doing, to go into the situation and play along, what will your girlfriend think of you and your family? Like they only care in one direction what the impression makes.
Is there a difference between like the very principled take, which is obviously that no one is under any obligation and it seems wrong to like try to make someone adhere to some outdated sexist tradition, versus like a pragmatic way of looking at this where he's just like,
He doesn't want to cause issues in his family or whatever.
you spend a few hours cooking and meeting the women in my family and it's not really hurting anyone.
I mean, I understand that, like,
This isn't a defense. I'm just saying, is there at least some...
I get that, but
thought to the very pragmatic?
I just resent the idea
Yeah.
of this, like, playing along. Like, oh, just do it. Just
Yeah,
just
I hear
pretend like you're part of this mentality.
And that is
pretend
also-
like you love cooking and cleaning to please my fucking family. And if you don't fucking love cooking and cleaning, they will call you a bitch behind your back.
And it's also how
Jesus
like
Christ.
sexist traditions like this don't die when you don't have
Exactly.
people pushing back on them. I'm also having trouble imagining a gender reversed example
that's
of this.
what I was thinking he should do instead, because I don't think I agree with how did he put it, something like I'm the youngest person in my family and my protests mean literally nothing. I don't agree with that. I can understand how you feel when you feel like any small thing you've tried in the past like hasn't really done anything, but it's got to start somewhere, and why not it start with you? You know what you should do? If you really care about like your girlfriend and changing this in the long term, why don't you fucking go in the kitchen and start helping and cooking and cleaning? Do it with her, the both of you, and make it awkward for the other people who are like, why is there a man cooking and cleaning? Fucking do it. Do it. Start to reverse those, start to unpack those, make everyone feel weird on purpose, And it shouldn't make them feel weird is my point. Because, like, who cares who is cleaning and cooking?
I mean,
but, like, you got to go in there and
could-
stand up for your partner and do it with her. Don't force her to go in there and fucking cook and
Well, I
clean
think
in
you have
some
to
weird
stand up-
gendered room.
You have to stand up for your partner if other people start being rude to her for not participating in the cooking.
Or you could do that. I was trying to come at it from ahead and just like, why don't we just flip the script and you go fucking scrub the dishes? I don't know. I thought that
I
would
mean,
be...
you don't have to do that. I mean,
Well, I'm not saying you have to, but wouldn't that be kind of nice for this situation? It'd be a bit refreshing. I would appreciate
he
it
should
if
get
I'm the
together
girlfriend
with
in this
all
situation.
the men. Yeah, and they're like, this year,
This year,
we're all cooking.
men will cook.
The men will barbecue or something.
Sure. Yeah.
could probably
Just
convince
do
them.
something to break this up.
Let's say you were on an estate with a rich family. I'm meeting your family for the first time.
So I'm a rich family.
Yes,
Okay.
you are. I'm trying to imagine a scenario where the roles are kind of reversed.
You're like,
And let's say it's the tradition of all the men in the family,
in my family.
in your family,
To-
your rich estate
Okay.
living family.
What do the men do?
I guess the men, they go hunting.
This is not close to reality.
I'm just
my
making this
God.
up. I know. I know.
Okay.
But let's say you were like, hey, I know you don't want to hunt animals. I have ethical
Sure.
qualms about that. Even if I eat meat, I don't at all understand anyone enjoying or finding satisfaction in killing an
But
animal.
I want you to go out hunting
But
with it.
just so that, it doesn't cause friction and you make a good first impression, I want you to go in the woods with my uncles and shoot a turkey.
No.
I don't think you wouldn't expect me to do it, but I might think in my head, like, maybe I don't care enough that it's like, I don't mind.
It depends how I feel about the hunting. Because if I like hunting and think it's a good thing and have no ethical qualms, but you do, then we're already at a values difference. In this situation, does he think it's a totally cool and fine thing for all the women to be subjugated to a room and to cook and clean?
So is it really just about the specific tradition being participated in, which in this
Yes.
case is problematic, but in other cases might not?
Because, for example, if I had a family of men who love to golf, and you just didn't like golf, but there's like really nothing wrong with golfing,
So
then I might be like, why don't you just fucking go golf with them?
That's
There's
a-
nothing ethically wrong and problematic socially with golfing.
Golf courses are very environmentally...
Okay, I'm
okay.
sure you can find something.
No, I
but-
love that example because, like, the hunting one, I actually feel like a lot of people could have an opposition to that or would. Whereas,
And-
I think the
and
golfing
this
one's more
situation
innocuous.
too. This situation
Yes.
is closer to the hunting than just like going golfing, even if you
Mm-hmm.
don't really like golf.
Is it only a problem because the men are doing nothing?
I'm not even really paying attention to that. I was paying attention to the fact that like women are ostracized unless they do chores.
Unless well, it's just
Like,
it's
basically.
cooking, right? Isn't it just we're just talking about making food?
Is that okay? Maybe I don't know, but like
Because if this was presented in a way that was less like demanding or expected, it wouldn't be weird for it to be like, hey, meet my mom, and like, hey, do you want to help her in the kitchen doing something? If that just kind of happened organically, no
Yeah,
one's
but
questioning that, right?
as long as like it isn't segregation by gender, like anyone can help anyone in the kitchen, that's
Yeah.
fine. But this whole weird like it's got to be a role thing, and the men can go in the other room. Or if you're a longtime wife, you are allowed the privilege of not having to cook because you've solidified your position and value in this family as having cooked for 8 years now. It's kind of like it's weird.
Can I give you a really
Wait,
hot take?
Can I tell you what I would do first?
No, tell me.
Poison the food and feed the men. Feed the men.
Kill
Poison-
them.
Come on, ladies, we
Okay.
got a plan.
That Barbie movie went to your head. Kill all men.
For the record, I'm joking, but
Yeah, I
you
don't
know.
think you need to say that.
I don't know, man. Someone's gonna like be like, Cristine wants to do murder. It's radical feminist. Like, okay, okay. What were we gonna say?
Nothing.
No, I want to hear what you're gonna say. What's your hot take?
My hot take is that I
Wait, do I wanna hear
totally,
this?
I totally understand this rejection of like the woman's role is in the kitchen. Of course, you'd have to be a crazy person not to sympathize or agree with that
But-
position. My perception among the people I know of our generation is that I feel like I know way more men our age that are good in the kitchen,
Sure.
that are good cooks, than I know women are. And I wonder if it is that part of this like rejection of the expectation that I have to be good in the kitchen to be a good woman has resulted in like less women just being, you know, capable cooks.
You're talking about us. Because I can't cook.
I mean, anecdotally, we are an example of this.
We are one data point.
And I don't think it's unique. And don't get me, this isn't coming from a perspective like the woman should be able to cook. Like I don't care about that.
I think like people should be able to cook to feed themselves.
Yeah.
But like there's a spectrum of how much you need to know about cooking in order to survive. I don't need to know how to make a meatloaf casserole dish, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know how to make a meatloaf casserole
dish. I don't know
dish.
how to make a full Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, I just order one from Swiss Chalet.
I wouldn't let a rejection of societal expectations prevent you from learning life skills or participating in things that are otherwise okay.
Sure, I don't think this is saying that like she never cooks at home or anything. It's this idea that like go into this room with all the ladies and the men will be taking a break and you will serve them. That's the problem. It's not a rejection of I'm literally never cooking for myself even ever.
There's a lot of pleasure in cooking for other people too.
Yeah, and women should love to do it, right? Right, Ben?
Maybe.
Ben's just asking me to cook, basically.
Am I the asshole for telling my friend to stop wearing branded clothes? That's not a good album title.
Branded clothes?
Here's some context to the situation. I'm 19. My friend is 19. We're both fellas. We're in the university in the UK.
All right.
We're in London. My friend doesn't live in the university supplied accommodation.
You have to read it in a British accent.
Oh, could you read it then?
Since he's from the same city as where university is, as such, he normally has lots of spare cash, which he spends on things for himself. However, he spends the majority of his money on clothes to the point where he basically wears a new outfit every single day, when the majority of people at the university basically wear pajamas to lectures. They're calling me out. I did that. I wear pajamas to all my lectures. I've asked him why he spends so much money on clothes, and he told me that he just enjoys being able to have lots of options available to him when he's deciding on what outfit to wear for the day. Most of these clothes are expensive branded clothes. So recently, do you want me to continue or you just continue?
No, go ahead. I like the break.
Okay. We were shopping with friends. And he was basically buying clothes from every single clothing store we went into, to the point where he'd likely spent hundreds of pounds on clothing items. After the 5th store, I told him that he needs to stop buying so many clothes, in particular branded clothes. When he asked me why, I told him there's lots of poor students at the university and that him wearing new clothes all the time likely makes them feel bad. I also told him that like
you can stop the accent.
Slipping into like normal, not my accent. I also told him that I'm living away. Sorry, I'm reading the second sentence. I'm living away from home. I sometimes have to live off of pre-made meals, as do a lot of our friends. So he needs to be more respectful to our issues. My friend acted weird towards me for the rest of the day, and he hasn't tried to talk to me since. One of my other friends, who also lives at home, told me that my obsession with how he dresses is actually creepy. I'd like to add that his friend also buys a lot of branded clothes, but her hobby isn't nearly as bad as his. She told me that just because me and some of our other friends are living cheaply, it doesn't mean he has to. If I'm honest, I'm not entirely sure they understand the struggle that comes with moving away to university. However, since they both chose to stay living with their parents, am I the asshole for how I acted here?
Bum, bum, bum. You recently did a live stream using luxury brand name nail polish.
Chanel and Dior.
Dior. And yeah, I think we noticed, even in the comments, people having similar disagreements like this, right? As to like, I mean, you tell me.
Yeah, anytime I review luxury stuff, whether it's because I'm doing it because I want to give a more intelligent critique of it, which I did in like the video where I reviewed Gucci nail polish a long time ago, but when I'm just more casually reviewing it, like on stream, there's always people, there's two groups of people. There's either people who hate the sight, the sound, the mention of anything branded luxury because they find all of it wasteful, hurtful, harmful, even like as a rhetoric to spread and promote to people, even inadvertently, even if it's not like you're doing, it's not like you're gushing about it, but still that they immediately don't like it and don't like people who purchase it. And then there's the other group of people, the smaller in my audiences, but maybe not elsewhere outside of my audience, who really despise and get defensive when someone like myself might criticize a nail polish for costing $42 because it's branded Chanel.
There are people who are upset about.
Yeah. It's a smaller group in for my audience, but there are people who immediately come to defend the purchase of luxury or designer branded goods because it's something they participate in, and they see the other group of people as trying to tear them down as an individual for their own choices because other people don't like the way they behave and spend their money, and they get defensive over like, you can't tell me how to spend my money, or there is value in this to me, or you're just anti-capitalist and you're blind to like seeing any value in it, or you hate it for the brand name without even considering its quality. So there's this like argument that kind of erupts between those two groups, and I did see some of that, as I do every time I make a video on anything related to like luxury goods.
And
of people arguing.
your framing of those is usually like, this is very expensive nail polish. Is it good quality, or is it expensive just because of a brand name? Right? That's basically the approach you have.
And I mean, the answer is usually somewhere in the middle. It's definitely more expensive than the average product of comparable quality for what's in the bottle.
Yeah.
That's like,
which seems like a very
universally
fair
true.
criticism.
I think, yeah. But there's people who are like, oh, you don't understand. It lasts longer on me, therefore it's better, which I think is totally just debunked by user variables and how you apply
Well, then we
your
don't
nail
have
polish.
to entertain bad arguments. Just, is it, I guess the fundamental question is it unethical to purchase luxury goods? And when it comes to, maybe I look at clothing differently. This is a bias I have, I guess. Because like, there are things in my life maybe I'm willing to spend more money on than I need to. Like, I drink bottled water.
What is this, Evian water?
Or I like a good quality tahini.
Okay.
To make my hummus.
That's a weird example.
So, I don't think I have very good examples because I don't think there are many things I spend extravagantly on.
Like Fiji water is probably a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't
I don't
need
have
Fiji
to-
water.
I don't need Fiji water. So we're all a little bit hypocritical at the end of the day. But yeah, when it comes, especially to clothing, my perception is branded clothes. You are paying for the symbol that you have money. So when I see someone in a Gucci t-shirt,
People who buy that would disagree with you.
and I mean, I want to hear how they would
Why-
disagree.
yeah.
But okay, tell me why they disagree with that.
Not that this is my opinion, but I've seen the arguments. They think that we're just being ignorant to the quality and craftsmanship
but-
and the value that
do they
has
have
been.
do they have a good argument?
Okay, Ben,
That's
I'm just
sorry,
trying
but
to
like,
tell you.
if you're just, there are good
Yeah.
quality t-shirts that don't have a Gucci logo on them that don't cost $800.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that is just a bad argument. You are paying for the Gucci logo. You're paying
Yeah.
for, this is my symbolic display that I care about brand names, that this is a Gucci shirt, that I have money. It is a status symbol.
Yeah.
Is it anything more than that?
I'm trying to think about how people see this with different items. Like if you think of like luxury handbags, I believe the argument is that some of them are vintage and there's a story behind them, and like a very specific Chanel bag is like representative of an era and was made in a specific section in Italy, and lots of work by these specific people went into it, and it was limited edition and it was worn on the runway, blah 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 blah. I don't know, like
I mean, yeah, the question of
that's
it having...
different than a Gucci t-shirt, maybe.
You're right. There's a question of artistic value that comes in here that makes things super subjective. Whereas I would argue, though, if I just see a guy walking around in a white t-shirt that just says Gucci across the front of it, and he spent $800 on that shirt instead of, I don't know, $50 for a shirt of a comparable quality, I am judgmental of that in my personal life. I'm not going to tell that person they can't spend their money however they want to spend it. But in my mind, there is a judgment I'm making about someone who would spend who would engage in that sort of
Have you ever left a
example of
comment on the
consumerism.
internet about that? Like, if you
No,
saw
but-
someone who, in your opinion, was like doing the flaunting of stuff that you think is materialistic and wasteful, have you ever said like anything to that effect in response to their actions?
Have I ever done that?
Yeah, or in real life.
I mean, I'm not really someone who leaves comments on things, but I've probably said something at some point about someone who does this.
But have you said it to them?
I'm not sure I understand where you're going with this.
No,
Does that matter?
I think
I'm pretty honest about my criticism. If a friend of mine was buying Gucci shirts, I'd probably be like,
Why are you buying Gucci shirts?
yeah, probably.
And they'd be like, because I like them. And you'd be like,
And
okay.
I wouldn't tell them they shouldn't because other people are poor. Like I don't agree with that argument. But like I actually don't I think the sort of social pressure that comes from other people condemning is a strong word. But like there is value if a bunch of rich people engage in like really obnoxious, toxic consumerist behavior and a viewing public goes, that is obnoxious and bad, and I don't like you promoting that to the young audience that watches you, and they want to comment that, I don't have any issue with that. If you make your entire personality and existence on the internet criticizing other people and you get off on that, I think there's something like sort of different going on. But I don't mind people being critical of consumerism in general.
Yeah, and that's not really what I meant to infer. I just think like there are really good conversations to have about consumerism and wastefulness and spending and just like thinking as a society, and people are very frustrated about the distribution of wealth and inequality in society, and all of these are very valid reasons to be upset and to want to vocalize something. I think for me, the problem with like the internet and its existence and perpetuating conversations that are no longer helpful is when you take these really good places where these ideas are coming from and like real issues, and you turn it into like a personal takedown of an individual. Because like, how is that fucking gonna help anything? And but that's just me as someone who is a person on the internet, and not that I've really been a victim of this. That's not what I'm saying at all. But just like where like if we're gonna have a meaningful conversation on wealth inequality, it isn't about a takedown of one particular individual and trashing them for wearing Gucci. Like, I don't think you are helping and advancing in this conversation in a meaningful way as much as it just makes you feel good to write these nasty things about someone in the language of choice that you are choosing to use. There's a difference if you're writing something that's like more of a commentary on this behavior overall. That's good. That's a good conversation to have. But I think there's a distinction, and sometimes it's hard to see that and decide which one is a good conversation and which one isn't helpful. So like, I'm not saying it's easy to detect either, but I just find like one of my gripes with the internet is how easily things kind of devolve into just like personal attacks that move us further from meaningful conversation.
Yeah, but it's way harder to affect any sort of structural change that causes wealth inequality than it is to lash out at someone who embodies or represents it, right?
Yeah, I know.
But what do you expect people to do? Like, and it's not like it's a one or the other thing. People can, vote or advocate for the causes they care about that could maybe make society more in how they would want it to be. But you can also criticize someone who flaunts their wealth in obnoxious ways.
Yeah, I'm not saying people shouldn't criticize. It's just like something I'll notice that is kind of frustrating in the sense that like, I don't know what the fuck this is doing. Like, I'd rather hear really good, well-put video essays about inequality and talking about trends as opposed to like an individual.
It's kind of like the junk food. If you're only engaging in the one, like taking down of people with money and just sort of finding some gratification in that, yeah, that is a very sort of self-serving, you're just trying to make yourself feel better sort of thing.
And
You're
I
not
just want
really
to be
helping
clear. I'm
anyone.
not talking about like the takedown of billionaires or whatever, the people who are responsible for a lot of the conversations we're having. I'm talking about like, I don't know, the takedown of like a fucking YouTuber or something. You know what I mean? Like, or a random celebrity.
I don't know if I agree with you, because I appreciate if there is a trend towards not pushing back on like the sort of worship of consumerism among successful online influencers.
But talk about that then. Talk about how it's a trend that you don't like and
Yeah,
point it out as a trend of
but
people and not
you're-
just like, this person is such a selfish bitch.
But you are a very kind person who never wants to be mean, I guess. But to me, like, criticizing an individual who engages in that could be part of pushing back against that trend. There are a lot of really successful young creators who, as soon as they start making money, start acting like fucking dickheads. And I don't think it's wrong to be like, these people are terrible role models for children. And I think criticizing them to that end is totally acceptable.
But I like the discussion of talking about why they're terrible role models to children.
Rather
like,
than just making fun of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rather than like, let's go research their personal history and find some, like, what? No, just talk about how they're terrible role models to children and talk about how all those reasons together, and maybe there's like a group of them and it's collectively causing an issue. That's fine. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
I think for me, the blind spot I have is that I only look at wearing brand name expensive clothes as engaging in this conspicuous consumption of luxury, overpriced fashion, and letting other people know how rich you are. I have trouble seeing it from another perspective, and I'm sure there's way more gray area or people who can at least see it having some artistic value, and people who are just interested in fashion to any extent. I am not someone who cares about fashion.
Yeah, that's
so like
why
that's where I'm probably out of touch with that.
And that's also why I can't really form an argument for that side, because I don't really buy brand names for the sake of it. Don't buy designer brand names for the sake of it. I do buy like brand name, hoodies or whatever, but it's because like I like them and I like them in every color. But like I feel like that's like not really the same thing as what we're talking about when you're buying
I think you could draw a pretty clear line between those two things. Like you wear a lot of Lululemon. Those aren't cheap clothes.
Yeah.
Comfortable, good quality. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You have money and you spend money on
Yeah, but there will be
clothes you
people
enjoy.
who say like it's overpriced. There's no way a sweater has to be $100. And like, yeah, sure, you could say that about a lot of things in life, that it doesn't need to be that much. I could definitely find hoodies for half the price somewhere else if I wanted to.
You could.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, so there's a spectrum of these things,
what
like there
else?
always is.
You know what else you can do?
What else could you do? What are you doing?
You could just steal it.
Don't pretend you stole.
I'm joking.
Christine,
it's
she
still
bought
on.
this, and there's a security tag on the hoodie.
And I still haven't gone back to the store.
So you bought it online, and it came with the security tag.
I bought it like on their web store from the official
On the
Lululemon.
internet?
Yeah. On the internet.
On the web
scary
store.
place on the web store. And it came with it. And I didn't realize, because I just didn't put it on. I took off all the tags and I just didn't wear it for like a couple weeks. And then I put it on and realized that it had the tag.
And it's still on.
And it's still on, and I showed Stream, and they instructed me how to get it off with magnets and forks, but I was too scared because it's going to rip the mesh.
So
and I still haven't left the house.
So you just can't go into any stores wearing that hoodie because you'll just set off the security alarm.
Exactly. But I can wear it at home. It's no problem.
Actually, you could walk into any store it's not sold at.
I can't go to the airport.
We should try. We should see what happens.
No. I'm just going to... Guys, ask me in like 7 months. Do I still have this on? It'll still be on my hoodie.
All right.
Okay, next one.
Last one. Am I an asshole that I took $2,000 to get off the plane and came home late? There was a security tag on my hoodie, so I couldn't get through security, so they sent me home. No, Delta gave me $2,000 to skip my flight. This is $2,000 that can be spent anywhere.
On Gucci.
That's how money works. The flight looked like it was going to get canceled anyway. It did. So now I have $2,000 and a hotel to stay at, but my fiance is mad at me because I chose the money over coming home. It looked like the flight was going to be canceled. And not to mention, I called once and texted once to ask her opinion, and she didn't answer. So I had to make the decision by myself. You have to make a decision all by himself.
Oh, no.
She claims that she's been in a semi-depressed state in the last few days. It's crazy. So it's crazy of me to make the decision. She's not communicated to me well enough how bad she is right now. Last night we spoke and she seemed better. Would you ever accept money to not get on a plane?
No.
I've been in this position before. We've been in this position before.
Yeah, but we're privileged enough for this not to make a meaningful difference. So, like, I don't know. I can't say that for everyone. But, like, personally, even before YouTube, let's just say I've more average person salary, you know, working at the government. I guess that's not average either. But just, like, pre-YouTube, I still, like, no. I am a planner. I need to get where I'm going to get according to my plans. I can't fucking do it. Yeah.
That's fair. I think we were somewhere once and they were trying to offer someone like $500 in vouchers to not get on the flight. And I remember briefly going like, would we think about this? And it's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also understand if like you're offered $2,000 in cash that can be spent anywhere. Like, really?
It must be international.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because like that's a good deal. If you don't have to get home, like great, pay
That's the
me
thing.
$2,000.
And I think that's the right word. Like, if you don't have to get home, fiance is depicting this as if like, oh, you should have wanted to get home to me because I'm going through a hard time.
But you picked money over me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Which I guess this is so context dependent. Is she going through a hard time or just sort of annoyed that he chose $2,000 over seeing her 24 hours sooner than he would? Right? Like how much is that 24 hours difference going to make? And $2,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people.
I know. I guess it depends. Like if that $2,000 is meaningful and significant to them, and I might have like understood because maybe I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. But if that $2,000 is not that meaningful or significant to them, but he was just like, sure, gravy money, and he knew she was like really in need of him coming home, then maybe the context warrants a little bit more upset. But we don't know.
I would
like,
think
I feel
most
like
people in this position would be pretty cool with their partner collecting $2,000 to show up a day later.
Yes. Yeah.
Unless they had a real reason to get back home. Right?
Yeah, but we don't really know what the issue might have been and
True.
why she wanted him home.
So if I went on a vacation and I called you and I was like, they're offering me $2,000 if I stay on vacation another 3 weeks.
Why would they do that? Who's offering you money to stay on vacation then?
What if it just happens?
Oh my god.
That's it.
Wasn't there one more?
Nope.
Oh.
We've already gone long.
Oh, I thought there was one more.
There is, but we've gone pretty long.
But it was a good one.
I don't want to read it. Could you read it in a British accent?
Do it. Okay, it's long. Should I read it in British?
In British.
Guys, we have to do this
In
because
English?
am I the in British? Am I the asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend over the Barbie movie? Dun dun dun. Okay, I
Shrimp
can't
on the
keep
Barbie.
in the Barbie. But yeah, guys, we knew this was gonna happen. We knew relationships were gonna end after the Barbie movie. It has been predicted.
For the better.
Okay. Am I 23-year-old lady?
Am I a 23-year-old lady?
Shut up. I'm trying to read. Am I a 20... Shut up. 23-year-old lady. The asshole for breaking up with my boyfriend, 23-year-old male species, over the Barbie movie. I literally don't know what to do right now, and I feel so helpless turning to Reddit. You know your life is helpless when you turn to Reddit for advice. /validation. But 3 days ago, my boyfriend and I went to see the Barbie movie. I've been really excited as I'm a huge Greta Gerwig fan, and my boyfriend really likes Ryan Reynolds. What? Ryan Gosling?
Wrong.
What? Other than him being in the movie, which Ryan Reynolds was not in the movie, my boyfriend didn't know anything else about it. Well, much to his surprise, it was the wrong Ryan.
That's why he's
and
so
then
upset.
they broke up. I, on the other hand, was fully aware of its feminist themes and was secretly hoping my boyfriend would get the message. Over the duration of the movie, I could tell he was getting more and more uncomfortable / upset, and I was getting really sad both from the movie and his reaction, and I knew he would end up having a conversation with me about it afterwards. He didn't talk to me until we got in the car. He then told me he was really offended by the movie and said it was the kind of thing I should have watched with my girlfriends and not him. I understood where he was coming from, but I'm not even going to start explaining why I disagreed. We have been having problems with his weird comments about women, the LGBTQ2 plus community, and other stuff. He would deem it bitch shit, in quotes. Maybe it was a long time coming, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was tired of having to always deal with his attitude and disrespect, and was also maybe on this girl power high. So I told him it was over and we're going to Barbie land. The complicated part is this. He lives with me. Yeah. Yep. He has been in between serving jobs, and since he was my freaking boyfriend, I let him move in with me 6 months ago. Living with him is a whole other story, but I couldn't take it anymore and had him leave my apartment the next day. So where'd he go? To the house of Casa Ken's Casa? Casa Ken's.
Dojo house?
Doja Cat's castle. No, right? I stayed at my friend's house while he packed up his stuff. He said he understood and that he didn't want to live with me another second anyways.
Women.
I assumed he had a place to go to, but apparently he didn't. His brother called me a few hours ago saying he's missing in action. His friends are blowing up my phone saying the same thing. I feel like this is all my fault. No one has heard from him in 24 hours. I did think it was weird when I came home and all the food in the fridge was gone. All the batteries in our electronics were gone. What? The level of petty. He took my phone charger and half the blankets. I now know he did not, in fact, have anywhere to go or a car. He had been using mine since his engine busted last month. The worst part is I still have his location, and it's saying he's 2 states away. I don't know how he got there. I can't believe this is all because of the freaking Barbie movie.
Girl, the Barbie movie saved you.
The Barbie movie is destroying lives, apparently, in
no,
relationships.
This is a good
Saving
thing.
lives.
Saving lives.
You're saving lives by destroying relationships, yep.
There was an update to this where she adds a little bit of... She finds out he's with his cousin, or second cousin now, who's a lady. The implication is maybe they are dating.
With his cousin?
He also stole her hairdryer. Anyway, I think she just followed up to be like, I don't know. There's an update, but it doesn't really change the scenario. Yeah, an air wrap. Not sponsored.
Those are fucking expensive.
To me, like the big thing in this, like she knew taking him to the movie
was gonna trigger him. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think she
she needed the movie to break up with him.
The movie sort of validated her feelings of knowing this guy was an asshole, I think. And
if it's, if you need that Barbie movie to get that courage, then like it was going to happen at some point. Maybe she was just like she was looking for an assist. So she used the movie as an assist to really bring it out. Yeah. Yeah. Because it was inevitable.
But this is a good outcome.
Yeah, no. Good outcome. She's only
you lost
23.
It's sad you lost your batteries and some blankets.
Yeah, what the fuck? Took all the electronic, like all the
That's
batteries.
So petty, yeah.
And half the blankets.
And the hairdryer.
Yeah.
It's not for him.
Yeah, what does he think he is? A Ken doll? Blow drying his hair? Anyways, he's just a Ken. Forget about him. This
just proves my theory, right? That,
the Barbie movie is a test.
If you take a man to see the Barbie movie and it shatters their ego and they have a fucking breakdown over it, then yeah, that's probably not a guy you want to date.
And it's probably really hard to even have a meaningful conversation with a guy like this about the themes in the movie because they're just never going to fucking listen. It's like talking to a brick wall.
Hopefully, he's 23. I think a lot of dumb young men can get to a better place.
That's a good album title.
Young Dumb Men?
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah, okay.
Is it Young Dumb Men or Dumb Young Men?
It could be like written in a way where you can read it both ways or something.
Okay.
Dumb Young Men, Men Young Dumb.
Yeah.
Young Dumb Men, Men Young Dumb.
Could be a good shade name. All right. I hope that, these people in these situations could just like stay grounded or something. Because this is some...
What?
I don't know.
You're just trying to think of words to say? I'm very happy for this person. She no longer has such a shitty boyfriend.
Yes, that's also what I mean.
Batteries come and go. You'll get new batteries and blankets.
Barbie movie lasts forever. It's a fact that lasts forever.
Boyfriends are temporary. Barbie is forever.
Movie lasts forever.
I'm a Greta Gerwig fan now. I've decided.
Good.
I've only seen Barbie and I watched Lady Bird last week, which was excellent. Really enjoyed it.
Good. I haven't seen it, but
you could watch a movie with me sometime.
maybe
There's a
I will.
tradition in my family where
All the women can't watch
the women sometimes watch movies with their boyfriends.
What? Shut up.
Yeah, we should try it sometime.
That sounds like not a tradition, just like normal.
Yeah, that's just a normal thing.
Just a normal.
Maybe we should try it sometime.
Okay.
Yeah.
We went to see 2 movies like lately. Jesus Christ. Maybe you should try it sometime. Oh, we just did, sir.
Got me.
All right, everyone. I hope you out there in the world just,
I, 35-year-old lady.
just keep it chill. Just stay down to earth. What?
On your nails.
On your nails coming tomorrow.
Is that true?
Yeah. Today
Okay.
is Taco Tuesday when this is released. So,
It is
yeah,
Taco
Holo
Tuesday.
Taco is going to have a low-key, down-to-earth, some fall creme, some cozy colors.
Is it fall?
Yeah.
Did you say fall or autumn?
I think they're interchangeable. It depends on what other words you have before or after and whether you want to make an alliteration.
I find autumn a little pretentious.
Yeah, but autumn aesthetic has an A and an A. That kind of sounds nice.
The word autumnal is nice, though.
Why do you like that and not just autumn on its own?
Because if
autumnal is
I'm-
even more brouhaha. Like,
It is a little brouhaha. But if someone goes like, "Oh, what season is this?" It's autumn.
it's autumn.
That's how I think of it. But if they go like, "I'm feeling autumnal,"
I literally never hear anyone say that word.
I
in a
know I don't
sentence.
either, and I want to.
Okay, so you should write the copy instead.
This autumnal green shade. Which green? Do you want to watch Shrek later? I don't.
Okay, all right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of yet another Am I the Asshole? And have a really happy Taco Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all later. Bye.